I like to close each LHON conference with an update on the state of the global LHON community. With a database of over 8,100 individuals, a global Facebook group with over 4,100 individuals, and an email list with over 1,600 people, the LHON community continues to grow. A while ago, I encountered Tracy Medford-Rossow. She's an author who happened to meet Kevin Coughlin, someone affected by LHON who lives in her neighborhood in New York City. Tracy decided to co-author a book about Kevin's LHON journey. She's become a great friend to the LHON community and provided books to be given away here at the conference. I have one left if someone wants it. I don't know if all the ones out on the table were distributed. They're gone. There's one left up here if anyone wants it. But Tracy has chosen to donate her author's royalties to the LHON project at the UMDF, and she's just asked us to do good for the LHON community with it. So I'm very grateful to her for that. One of the ways Tracy's generous grant is being used is to support free coaching sessions for anyone in the LHON community with Derek Daniel. Derek is affected by LHON. He's created a website and YouTube videos called lifeaftersightloss.com. And if you or anyone in your extended LHON family would like to speak with a sight loss coach with direct LHON experience at no cost, simply go to the website lifeaftersightloss.com/coaching and use the coupon code LHON, and he will provide sight loss coaching for a sighted supporter, for an affected individual, anyone who just wants to talk through issues related to having LHON in the family. We continue to develop our state and regional LHON Facebook groups throughout the United States. When I was in Boston, the New England Facebook group helped put a group together that includes some folks here today, including Molly Knox and Jen and Cindy Tylock. Last year, Lindsay Zibinowski let me know she was going to be in San Diego. Doesn't take much for Maria to say yes to an LHON field trip. So there we were in a restaurant in northern San Diego getting acquainted with this lovely young woman who didn't yet know for sure if she had LHON. Lindsay, if someone can pass you the microphone, if you could tell us a little bit about what happened after that.
So after meeting Alyssa and Maria, I was actually hoping I had this disease instead of something else. So I got my official diagnosis about a month after meeting them, and I was like, hey, I have this. And then a few months after that, I'm like, Alyssa, I'm bored out of my mind. I want something to do. How can I help? And so she's like, oh my God, this is amazing. And so she turned me over to the Ohio group. I'm the administrator for the Facebook Ohio group. And I also love helping other people connect from surrounding states. I actually had the opportunity to meet a younger son and his mom in Philadelphia while being in the trial. He lives in Michigan, and I actually had the opportunity to meet with them and connect with them and get them acquainted with their new journey. And my thing is just getting people connected in Ohio, outreach things, different activities or events or things like that going on in Ohio and surrounding states. So I love doing that kind of stuff.
It's great, and we're glad you do it, and it makes it more fun.
Yes.
Another way to develop local connections is by creating a Team LHON at an existing UMDF Energy for Life walk. This year, Karen Bridgman created a Team LHON in Atlanta for the first time. Karen, could you tell us a little bit about that experience?
When Lissa called and asked if I would do this, Lissa's really hard to say no to. So either don't answer the call or be prepared to say yes. I'm finishing a year as president of my local Rotary Club. I'm the county chair for Relay for Life. I work for a county school system where end of the year kind of stuff is overwhelming, and of course this was in May. And so there wasn't any way to say no to Lissa, but she was so helpful in letting me know what was involved. UMDF sets up everything. It's the best thing to be a part of you can imagine. They plan the walk, they have everything laid out, they have all the registration handled, the volunteers, the t-shirts, the pins. There's a terrific group in Atlanta called Cosplay, costumed character actors, superheroes, who come and interact with the children and the families who are part of all of this. Literally what I did was help with the Facebook notifications, let people know in the Georgia area the day and time, and encourage them to sign up myself to be there, and then show up for the event and look around for the LHON folks. As it turned out, we had a number of families who were interested but weren't necessarily able to attend. But one really just tremendous find for me as a personal connection, Linda Moore Harry. Is that the right order for all of her names? I get them in the wrong order.
And her picture's on there.
Oh, good. There we are. There we are at the walk. She showed up with her son, who recently had been diagnosed, and about 9 other family members and about 8 dogs. Just right at the last minute, she wanted to know if the park was pet friendly, and I said, well, we're just going to put it out here and see. UMDF answered almost instantly that yes, it was. So we had this huge LHON group that really was one young man who was affected, his extended family, and me. But we made other connections through our Georgia site. I think next year we'll have even more people. Linda's determined that we're going to have t-shirts because so many of the other mitochondrial disease groups had their own t-shirts. But it was a lot of fun and easy to do, even for somebody who was really, really busy at that time, to be a part of it. And I felt like, you know, we did what we could do for the first year, and we'll just plan on doing more next time.
Thank you so much for doing it. And there are many locations. There are Energy for Life walks. There's a fall series and a spring series. And so if you'd like to set up a team LHON in your area, let Molly Knox know. She's developed a how-to list of what are the steps, and she can walk you through it, talk you through it, and make it super easy, like Karen said. You just set up the team and off you go. So there's a list up on the board now. It's on the website. Molly can help you find out. So if you'd like to get involved, please let Molly know.
And if I could add just one more
Sure.
thing. One of the things Lisa emphasized was that while this is a fundraiser for UMDF, that's not the focus of it. The focus of it was really getting people together. The same kind of connections we've made here, but with people from your direct area. People can sign up without contributing a dime, and just show up and be part of it. And I really would encourage you to either get involved in the walk yourself or be willing to step up and be a lead. It was super easy to be the lead, but the single connection with Linda and her family, for me, has really made a significant difference. That mama-to-mama connection is a big deal, but seeing that extended supportive family was also wonderful.
Thank you, that's great. At last year's conference, we heard about the growing LHON Canada group. And since our conference in Nashville last year, the LHON Canada group has conducted not just one, but 2 LHON conferences. Lisa, could you tell the group a little bit about what's been happening in Canada since we last met here?
Yeah, well, two years ago we started, we decided to create LHON Canada. We were lucky enough to have Dr. Karangia help to support us with it. And so we started a board, and it was created out of a few families from West Coast to East Coast. And then we had a conference in Ottawa, and that was in September of last year, so 2018. As of April this year, we had one in Vancouver. The one in Vancouver started with an evening event, just like we did here. And then we had a one-day conference, and then we followed it with a half-day activity where we all went to Stanley Park, and it was walking around, and it was very casual, but everybody getting to know each other, having brunch afterwards. It really turned into a full weekend. And what was nice was it was people from the West Coast of the United States and also people from the West Coast of Canada. Our goal moving forward for this next year, I'm not announcing a date yet, but I have spoken to Dr. Karangia, so I have had a little bit of information. It sounds like we're going to be doing a conference later next spring in Montreal, And our goal of the one later next spring will be to, I know, and there's a family here that happens to be from Quebec. And I think we're recruiting you for volunteering, eh? And so we're having the conference, that'll be in Montreal. And again, it'll be something where if there's people from the East Coast of the United States, if they'd like to come up and join us, we welcome you to come and join us as well. And our other goal is to do a fundraiser in Toronto, probably in November. And again, our goal for that will be to try and raise some money for research and to really start this foundation on its feet so that we can start to build sort of a real strong, so that we can really start to build some programs out for patients and to be able to build the research.
Thank you, Lisa. It's amazing what you guys are doing. I love it. Last December, my daughter Julie and I traveled to Sao Paulo, Brazil, to attend the first LHON conference in Brazil. Nicholas, could you please tell us a bit about that event and the group's plans for the future?
Yeah, it's a great pleasure to, represent our Brazilian community this time, because I think the best way of doing it was like having Mario here. Mario Villena is a really, really, really amazing guy. He's like, I call it, my godfather, my tutor, my everything, because he lives in São Paulo like me, and he was my the first guy who, I met like with the same condition as me. So meeting a friend, meeting a guy that, like a young guy, he's a little older than me, but, a young guy who works, who studies, who can, who's able to do everything he wants. He travels a lot. So, he can be here today because, he needs to work some part of the year because he's always traveling. So, he needs to stop and work sometime. But, he started creating this connection in Brazil with our Facebook group, LHON Brazil, and we have LHON Latin America as well. Because the first barrier for us, the first wall, is something called language. Because not everyone is, lucky persons like me who can learn English since childish, and are able to speak English or, whatever other languages. We speak Portuguese in Brazil. So, and we have such a few information of a rare disease in Brazil. Lots of doctors, even neuro-ophthalmologists, just don't know what labors, LHON, nothing happens. So when we search on the web for LHON and Portuguese information, there's almost nothing. There's just, general information telling us that just male has it and young boys has it. So, really not good information. So one of his priorities, that is one of mine as well, being able to be here and chat to you guys, is providing our group on Facebook and on WhatsApp. WhatsApp is a huge social network in Brazil, like everyone has it, and everyone uses like iMessage. So we have a group there nowadays is more than 200 people. It's not just LHON affected, but some carriers, some family, and we are trying to create like an LHON to LHON thing, but I was chatting to Mario last week, and we know it's a second step. Maybe, I don't know for you guys, because that's just my third conference, but I imagine that the first time, you just needed to get together. So we need to make separate groups just after. So I think it's a next step to create this LHON to LHON group, and even the families group, like carriers, because, the empathy, we need to have a place. The parents need to have a place. We need to have a place for everyone to be, to be okay to, chat about, regular stuff like, confusing our dogs to, some laundry. It happens to me all the time, and I imagine it happens to everyone else. So, we as affected can understand it, but for our parents, for our aunts, it's not so, it's strange. It's not the same thing as for us who live this all the time. So that's the first thing. But Mario just created a site. It's called, I think it's LHON.com.br, because in Brazil to have like org sites is really hard. So we need to have a com site, but it's okay. And he talked to Lisa to, translate all the LHON.org things, tests, and everything to Portuguese to prevent, good information and, information we can, trust in Portuguese. So, for example, when I was affected in 2016, it was, I could get good information because I speak English. But, for people who were affected and just speak Portuguese like 3 or 4 years ago, for them to have good information was really hard. Nowadays it's getting better because we get Lisa's and UMDF information in Portuguese. And Mario just, started organizing. He asked me all the time about our, my experience here in this Americas conference for him to, organize our first conference. And, it was like a pilot edition because we were knowing each other for the first time. For example, Brazil is like a continental country. So not anyone can make it till São Paulo because it's really, really more than 5 hours for some places in Brazil, flight. So, and it's pricey as well. So, but some people could make it there from other states and from other places. So having this opportunity for us to get together and chat and know each other and laugh about, our regular lives was so amazing. And having lots of doctors, lots of, I could spoke about, like I did last year about my journey, everything. And this year, we're having our second conference at the end of October in São Paulo again, in a different place, but it's gonna be in São Paulo. And Mario asked me about, talking about work and doing those kinds of things because we are in early steps. We are like, I was telling Susie and Wayne, we are puppies, and doing conferences and getting together and making these conferences. But it's been so important, when I just open WhatsApp in my cell phone and I look to our group and we started listening to voice memos, and we hear like Portuguese being spoken in lots of different accents, and we have a rare condition. And we have people from Rio Grande do Sul, that is a really southern state, talking to one from Northeast, and it's so amazing to get, all those people get together and they're getting more confident about themselves. They're feeling more able, like me. When I went here for the first time, I saw all those people and I said, oh, I could do anything I want. So people in Portuguese, in Brazil, we are trying to provide them this kind of experience. So good information like we have here, chatting, connections, everything in Portuguese. That's our language, and that's what, maybe 90% of the country's only language. So we are trying to reduce the gap between connections, good information, good doctors, good trials, and access to life, and we are trying to provide it in our language in our country. So that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Earlier this month, I traveled to Sweden to join the LHON Eye Society at their gathering, and Kevin Boland from the Canada group was there also. And it was really great to learn more about their projects and their efforts to raise awareness of LHON. There's a book on the table outside. It's called Look Forward, and the group had that created, and it's available as a downloadable PDF from their LHON.se site if you're interested. It's interesting because it's the same issues, the same challenges we all face, just coming from different directions, different languages. So circling back to a slide that I put up on the yesterday, I want to say the first day as though we've been here all week. It's a great feeling to feel like we've been here a long time together. But volunteering time and energy to support development of the LHON community can be fun and rewarding. And personally, I've developed some really great friendships in the process of being an LHON volunteer. So if you'd like to contribute some time to the effort, please contact Molly or myself to talk about it. As I've said, we're developing volunteer job descriptions to support all of the ideas and activities described in this chart. It's a work in progress, but as we develop them, we'll be specifically asking for people who want to volunteer for various roles and teams. Perhaps you might want to become part of a team reviewing the medical literature about LHON for topics to discuss at a future conference. Maybe you'd like to be on a team of folks tracking assistive technology utilized by folks in the group and becoming the go-to experts, advising those newly diagnosed, running a Facebook group, webinars about assistive technology. Perhaps you'd enjoy guiding folks new to the LHON community to the various Facebook groups that might be of interest to them. Maybe you'd like to develop your state or local LHON community, as Lindsay has been doing in Ohio. Whatever part of the process you enjoy, however much time you could give to the effort, please consider getting involved. It is time to start thinking about the 2020 conference. As was mentioned earlier, we'll be at the JW Marriott Desert Ridge Resort in Phoenix, Arizona. We have representation in the room from the area, and they've been starting to feed in ideas about the social events, and so I think it's going to be very exciting. So June 26th, 27th, please mark your calendars and plan to join us in Phoenix in June of 2020.